look like we're working to me. That's good. All right, so what do we got today? I know it's too early for me to be streaming, but I honestly wanted to work on this box, so I figured I would at least stream it, just because I was excited to play with it, to be honest. So this is a Kings of War Champions box. So I put in an order with them recently. I got these two. So I got one of the new werewolf uh, army, and then I've got some of the hell demons. So I'm gonna do these guys tomorrow. So get chucked to the side, and we're gonna check out the hell demons today, or forces of the abyss, I think they call them in Kings of War. So this is the Bloody Cardinal box. This is Kings of War's new small game type. Um, every year or every 2 years, Kings of War tends to do slightly different variations on not skirmish games, but like smaller versions of Kings of War itself. Um, so like this is still a rank and flank game, but it revolves around one character, the hero, and then you get some like predefined units to go with that hero, kind of like um what is it called? Spearhead for Age of Sigmar, right? So the units are all kind of predefined, and you get like one main core hero in each group, right? So in theory, what's in the group is supposed to like be reflective of the hero and kind of like themed around them, so that's kind of neat. Um, but it's also just a good way to get kind of a small collection of the Kings of War models, which is pretty fun, right? Like you don't have to buy a giant army or like a huge box or something. You just get some cool dudes that you can kind of mess around with. Um, Kings of War does kind of use these multi bases where you don't really remove models, but I'm going to be single basing all these models because I want them to go with the like the cultists and the demons and stuff that I've been building on channel recently, right? So these are going to be some more like hell forces for my Diablo style hell army. Um, yeah, they just look really cool. So these guys were originally in the starter set for Kings of War Champions. It was these and some like I don't know, like Jesus-y knights who had like wings and shit, and I was just like, no, dog, I ain't about that. So, uh, yeah, the Hell Demons are a lot cooler. So we're going to get, it looks like 10 kind of demon imp guys, one big character, three of these big imps, like big Baylor things, and then Naga dude as well. Now the Naga dudes usually come in groups of three, so I'm kind of curious how the sprue is getting split apart. I've built some of the little demons on here before, but I've never built any of the other models in this, so I thought it was kind of cool a good chance to get them and kind of check them out, pick them up. So these are the new plastic multi-bases. They have this tab system underneath so that you can kind of tab them together to make bigger bases. So like you tab like two together, and then you'd have uh, like a small unit to a medium unit, and then et cetera, et cetera. Just grow it out like that, which is pretty cool. So it looks like we got some of those in two different sizes. We got some tabs. We have an MDF base. It's kind of weird. Getting both an MDF base and the new bases. That's strange. You think they would have just had a new base of the other one? All right, let's check out. Ooh, these are fun. Oh yeah, that's cool. So these are the bigger imp guys, and they're a lot bigger than I thought they'd be. So that's pretty cool. It looks like they've got a lot of like kind of fiery or kind of like meat weapons, which is kind of neat. So we got some maces, we got some swords, we got this big whip. We got some axes. There's some kind of Katar, sickle. All right, that's pretty cool. So it looks like we got 3 different bodies. There's some big kind of skull mace. That's pretty fun. And the detail in these looks really good. They did a nice job with that. All right, so we got 3 different bodies. It looks like, unfortunately, we only have 3 heads. I mean, the detail on them looks really cool. I really like this one. That one's kind of more animal-y. That one's really neat. So the detail on them looks really cool, but it's a shame you only get the 3 heads. Um, but at least you're going to have options for the arms. I'm assuming the feet go to a specific model, given it looks like they affect the pose, but yeah, like 1 or 2 more heads on the sprue would have been cool. I would have liked that. Maybe one with like a helmet or something would have been really neat. Yeah, these are really nice. Um, these don't look like normal Kings of War Mantic Game runners. Manufactured in Poland. I bet you these are Archon Studios, because this really looks like Archon Studio runner. The way like it's up and down and kind of curly. Yeah, this really, it's manufactured in Poland and it really looks like an Archon Studio runner. But yeah, the quality there is fantastic. All right. So here's our big snake guy. All right, looks like we're gonna have some variation for him because yeah, I think there's normally like more runners for the snake guys, or maybe I'm wrong. It's just one snake guy runner and you swap the arms and heads out. I've never had a snake guy force before, so I don't know. That looks really good too. And it looks like we've got 3 different arms. We've got 4 different heads here. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Showing off some of the heads there. And it looks like we got a spear, an axe, or a double-headed axe. And he's going to be quite large, actually. If you compare his body to these guys, he's going to be big. And then we've got these guys. These are the demons. I've actually built some of these before. And they're nice models. They're very like traditional models, so you have a lot of options and stuff with them. And you kind of like choose what arms and stuff you want to go on them. But you can really, it's kind of funny, you can really see the difference. And this is the Mantic Games runner. That's the Archon Studios runner. You can really see that difference. That's really cool. We are also going to get a couple little imps on here as well. I don't think you're going to get, you get like maybe 2 on each runner. It's not really enough, I don't think, to do anything with, so you should probably just add them to these guys. But each one of these is going to have 5 guys. They have a variety of weapons, instruments. There's a drum there if you want a drum. They've got shields, double-handed weapons. There's a banner. The sculpting on the banner kind of sucks, but sculpting on the axe and the bodies is really nice. And they're just very, I I want to say generic, but I don't want to say generic in like a negative term. They're very classic, right? I think that's what I mean. And that they're just like very like archetypical like hell demons, and that's kind of actually really cool, right? It gives them um I don't know, there's something kind of like quaint about the very archetypical hell demon design, right? Like the imps with the red horns and the pointy pitchforks, and you know what I mean? There's something neat about that. So I say generic, but I don't mean it negatively. I mean it like very archetypical, and that's I don't know, sometimes that's fun. You know what I mean? Sometimes that kind of really hits the spot. Got a cool mace there. We got a guy with a bone. Some kind of another Katar thing. I really like the meat weapons these guys kind of have. I think they're maybe supposed to be fire, but to be honest, I kind of want to paint them like the way the walls in Diablo look, where they're made out of like the bodies of like people, and they're all kind of like just made out of like merged together meat. I kind of really want to paint the weapons like that. That's a cool look. These ones are a lot more traditional weapons. But I wonder if I could carry that over via color. I don't know. We'll have to see. But you get 10 of those guys, so you get 2 of the runners. The runners are identical. There's nothing different about them. And then we get our guy here. This is our character model. So he comes in resin. They call this master crafted resin. To be honest, I don't super know what that means. I think it's supposed to be more like ABS like resin. These are poured resin. They are not, because this really feels like plastic. It feels like ABS. But these are not 3D printed. They're poured. Cool soles down there. Got his kind of cool flaming hammer. I bet you I could paint that like meat too. Doesn't have any junk. Sad for him. I guess I have to clip that. I just have to clip that tab off. But yeah, even though this really feels like plastic, you still definitely gotta wash it before you try to put it together. So he's not gonna get assembled today, but it looks like he goes together really easy. Everything's kind of keyed. It doesn't really feel like there's any warping or anything. So the one downside for him is that he comes pre-built in this square base. Not a fan of that. Big time not a fan of that. I wish this was separate from the base. That's putting this as part of the base is a really bad design. Yeah, they shouldn't have done it like that, just flat out. This should be like a plinth that you can then put onto one of the plastic bases or one of the MDF bases, because the problem you're going to run into, and you have to be super pedantic to care about this, so apologies. I invite you to look at the width of each one of these bases, and the width of each one of these bases is different. This probably won't annoy everybody. This annoys the living shit out of me. Now, like I said, I'm going to be putting them on round bases, so I'm probably not going to use this at all. And I'm probably going to make him his own base. Or if I do use this, I will probably cut it out and put it onto a round base. But yeah, this is a bad design. They shouldn't have done it like this. But the model itself looks fantastic, and the resin quality feels just absolutely wonderful. Yeah, really, really nice. No like breakage or bendage or anything, and the quality looks great. But I really don't like how they did that base. All right, see what we got. Assembly guides. Okay. I don't know. Oh. And then we actually get a printed assembly guide too. Okay. I guess there's a digital one if you want it. This is nice though. I mean, those are good instructions showing the different colors and stuff. They did a nice job on that. Right? You can see this guy's got his different weapons and arms and heads and stuff. Do the bases tell you what size they are? Yes. Okay. So that's really cool. That the size is printed on them because it's telling you what size to put them in. So that's kind of cool. I want to cut it too. Yeah, it's really weird. That's a really weird choice. They shouldn't have done it like that. Because it's a really cool plinth. Him being held up by like the like kind of like souls of the damned, right, and the fire and stuff. Really cool base. Um, Great idea, but I don't like it being built into the base. That's just kind of lame. All right, and then these guys just kind of go like that. Macabre Missionaries. That's a cool name. All right, we got some unit cards. So these are for the Champions game. They're nice quality. Oh, they got a little bit of like a story on them. That's cool. I like that. It gives you a little bit of background. That's neat. Does these one have it too? Oh, it does. The lower abyssals that follow the bloody cardinal into the fray are a hideous mockery of Augustus Cassius's former congregation. These wicked creatures often carry Basilean artifacts they have defaced into battle to unsettle and strike fear into their foe. Some even reported hearing the so-called cackling choir singing Basilean hymns that have been twisted by the cruel tongue of the abyss. This is really fun. It's cool they got a little bit of like personality on the card. That's really cool. Whoever thought to do that, man? That's cool. I like that a lot. The Slithering Bishop. Oh, it's a shame he doesn't have a piece of art, right? Like, that guy's got art. This guy's kind of the demons already. It'd be cool if there's a Snake Man art there. Macabre Missionaries. Yeah, they have the generic art again, too. But if you want to read it, there's the card for those guys. It's pretty fun. And these are their faction orders. And a picture of our Biggin again. So yeah, all in all, really cool box. The only downsides, they don't really affect me because I'm not going to use the bases anyway. But the only downsides in this box, because this is an awesome box, it's really cool. The only downsides are those bases, right? The fact that you get 2 plastic and 1 MDF, why? And that the one guy's base is built into his plinth. That's kind of lame too. But the model selection and the model quality is fantastic. So, speaking of which, let's build some of them. I actually don't know what size bases these guys are going to fit on, so they might have to stand on their own for a little bit, but it looks like they can, so. I like that these guys all have like a slightly different design, so like it looks like 2 of them have hoofed feet, one has like clawed feet. I always like that in the demons where they're kind of like a mishmash of things. I think that's pretty cool. Let's just go. No. Okay. Must be a different foot. Is it this foot? Is this guy's foot with that guy's body and vice versa? Because that would be kind of funny on this brew, I'm not gonna lie. Dude's over there like, give me my foot back. But yeah, I've been using a bunch of different lines to kind of build my own kind of like Diablo style, like mixed demon army. For like Frostgrave and one-page rules and stuff like that. So this box is very well timed for that. And very well suited for that too, because I'm going to get a nice variety of demons and stuff. Right, so. Alright, so that looks like how she goes. Actually, out of all my GW glue, I used it all building the Death Cube. So we're going to have to use some Mr. Hobby instead. I am less a fan of the paint on glue. I actually really like the glue bottle glues. I used to go to a gunpla club back when I lived on the mainland, and we used to call this stuff. Actually, we called this one to me a death water because of the smell of it. Let's dry fit this piece and see if it fits. See if we got the right leg. Oh, we do. Okay. Yeah, I'm one of those weird people that actually really likes the bottled like GW glue. It's actually one of the few like it's actually the only GW hobby product I still buy. Um, it's kind of interesting. All right, that body is gonna be a little bit of a pain. Let me see what I got. That's a 40. Or are these 32s? These are 32s. All right, so they don't really fit on 32s. They need to go on 40s. Do I have any 40s? I see at least one, so that's good. Yeah, I 3D print on my own bases. They come from a listing on my mini factory that I've used for years and years and years. That's called Bases, Hollow Bases 5mm Wall. Which I mean, hey, if you need a name to sell something, that's a getter. But yeah, it's a horrible name, but they're fantastic. They're like clone GW bases. Um, really, really good. That is my husband calling me. Give me 1 second. Hey, nice. I'm just streaming a little bit. Oh, it's all good. Sure, I'll take something little. Because I grabbed a little bite when I left earlier. Yeah, just whatever you want. Sounds good to me. And Naja said she's good for dinner tomorrow. Okay? Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you. I'll see you when you get home. Oh, as I punch my camera. Yeah, it's my husband is on his way home. On his way home. All right. So we got two of these guys. I only have maybe I have another one. I'm gonna be super honest. I had some shelves up that had a bunch of GI Joes on them. But actually the shelves fell down because of all the rain here in Hawaii. If anyone that doesn't know, we're actually in what they call a Kona low storm. Um, so my other desk, which sits next to the streaming desk here, is really my main hobby desk. I don't usually hobby on this desk. Um, that desk is right now covered in GI Joes, and that's where all my bases are. And I didn't think about that before I decided to start streaming. Because I'm a genius. All right, it looks like this is just flat end to flat end essentially. So yeah, that should work nice and good. Let's clip some of the parts out and see what kind of poses we like. Because I like this like uh meat flail a lot. I think that's a cool weapon. I also like the axes a lot. These maces are neat too. Let's try one of those out. It looks like the arms actually hold them in different angles too, which is neat. Yeah, so I guess you could have a guy with like matching weapons, but that's not as much fun. And then it's kind of a shame there's not like just open hands. You're always going to have the two hands. That kind of blows. Um, Yeah, having a couple more. This sprue is really good. I like this sprue a lot. Everything on the sprue is great. Um, but having a couple more options would have made this an even better sprue. Like maybe 2 more heads and I don't know, maybe like 3 more arms that didn't have weapons in them. Um, like just like maybe like a pointing hand or or like a kind of evil hand would be kind of cool too. Okay, so that's how that looks. Ooh, I like that a lot. That big mace, the like dildo mace is cool. I like that. All right, we'll do that for that guy. There's going to be a little bit of gap on these because they are flat edge to flat edge, but I think that's okay. In retrospect, these might actually have numbers on them that I might be ignoring. This might be like B arm 1 and it goes to B body or something like that. And I might be ignoring that. Um, hmm, thank you. Yeah, we're going to have a little bit of gap. It's going to need to be filled, which is fine. Like I said, that might be user error here, and I'll check that in a second. Also, I think we're going to switch over to the Tamiya Deathwater. This Mr. Hobby Cement is smelling a little weird. It doesn't seem to be doing a great job either, to be honest. Alright, so this guy, we're going to give this guy the other one. We're going to give him the meat sword. Yeah, I think we will. Oh, that's right. I was going to check to see if the arms actually have numbers on them. They do. Okay. This really looks like flat edge to me. So I don't know what the value of those numbers is. So this must be body either B or C. So let's clip out a B and we'll see if it makes a difference. So here is, all right, so this is B4. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to clip that out and we're going to see if it makes a difference. Kind of got a feeling that because it's flat edge to flat edge, it's not going to really matter. But I'm going to clip all the heads out too. Let's see. Other arms I want to make sure I use. I want to make sure I use this Katar because it's the only one there. And there's that big skull flail, but I'm not a mega fan of that. I actually really like these meat weapons better. So I think we'll do one of the meat hooks too. Okay, so this is the arm that's supposed to go with this body. And yeah, that feels the same to me, to be honest. I don't really see a difference there. Right? You're going to have a little gap with either one. Unless it's supposed to go a specific way, but it doesn't feel like it. It's flat to flat. So, alright, so that guy's got the dildozer arm. This guy's going to get either that or one of these little swords. I think we'll give him the little sword, and I think we'll give him the big meat tentacle one too. So if you're ever curious the difference between Mr. Or Tamiya extra thin and Tamiya regular cement. Tamiya extra thin dries basically instantly. Same thing with Mr. Hobby Cement S. It dries very fast too. You have a little bit more working time with the regular Tamiya cement or the regular Mr. Hobby cement. Yeah, see, this actually feels a lot better than that Mr. Hobby. All right, let's. Well, use the death water. Ooh, it's a lot more death water than I wanted. Yeah, if you have just a light connection and then you apply more death water, it eats that connection. So keep that in mind. It will also glue your fingers to it. Motherfucker. Why am I this inept? Okay. So this guy's gonna get the this thing. Actually, you know what? Let's look at the other guy. Maybe the arm will look better on him. Because I really like this like meat tentacle arm. I really want to use it. Even though the post where it's a little weird. Because this guy I could do like an axe and the sword. And it would look cool. And then I could do the hook and the meat tentacle for the other guy. Yeah, I'll be setting up some more 40s on the 3D printer tonight. Do I like that one? Or do I like it on this guy? I actually think I like it on this guy better. Yeah, we'll do it on that guy. These guys had stuff like bracers and stuff. We could slice the hands and position them really easily. Because then you wouldn't see the cut as much. But they don't really have that kind of stuff. That kind of like small armor that makes those kind of changes really easy to do. So, all right. All right, I'll let him sit for a minute because he's actually going to get the Katar, I think. Yeah, and this guy's going to get, not this one, he's going to get an axe. Oh, wait, we got this guy too. Crap, he needs a weapon. All right, so he's going to get a hook. And the other guy's going to, oh, looks like we have two different axes. Which one do we want? This one's kind of more in front of the body. This one is kind of more reaching out. So we'll do this one. All right, so you're going to get the axe. You're going to get this. You get that Katar. This guy does not want to stay on his base. Oh, yeah, that'll be a cool pose. He'll kind of have it like reaching back. That actually worked out really well. Totally unplanned, but super nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Oop, sorry if I've been a little off the camera. I apologize. I did not mean that. I intended to only do one of these guys, but they're cool models, so I kind of got sucked into doing all three of them, to be honest. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Let's pick him ahead, I guess. So we got this one, which is a very impish face. We got the very dog face. I like this one a lot. And we've got the one with the long tongue. I think we're gonna do the one with the long tongue for the meat one. I think I want this guy to have the dog face. The neck hole's a lot bigger than the like neck peg. I was expecting a little bit tighter of a fit there, to be honest. So I was like, oh crap, are the heads actually unique for body? But they're not. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. That's a cool model. Now, these are models that have existed in Kings of War before. So these aren't unique to Kings of War Champions. The only one that's unique to Kings of War Champions is the boss cardinal guy. However, that being said, this is still a really cool way to get a sprue of them because you don't have to do like a whole army now. You get just a nice little kind of taster. That's why I really like these. Semantic does this every couple of years. They release different ways to do like small scale versions of their games. So they did Vanguard, and now they did this, and they did something before Vanguard that I don't remember the name of. Um, but they give you a really nice um, way to get like a small amount of their models for hobby, which is fantastic if you're primarily a skirmish game player like me. Um, I don't need like 4 sprues of these demons, for example, right? I really only need one. Because then I get to see what the demons are like and get to play with them and paint them up. And, I can pick the options I like the most, like that's good stuff. So quite happy with these boxes. They've got some other ones too. Like there's a Frogman one. There's a guy with a Quetzalcoatl, not Quetzalcoatl, a axolotl kind of hero who's kind of neat. Um, so they got some other ones too. Rah! With his big old meat sword. It's supposed to be some kind of whip. This would actually look really cool if you heated it up and like kind of twisted it around a little bit. You could probably get a really cool pose out of that. All right, this guy's gonna get an axe. All right, his pose is gonna end up being a little more generic. Let's try the other axe arm actually, since we got one. Um, I don't know if I'm feeling any of those axes to be honest. All right, homie, I'm sorry, ripping your arm off. We're gonna try switching. Maybe put the sword on the other side. See, a couple of these arms do have like cuffs, so really easy to cut right where the cuff connects, and then you just kind of can twist it back and forth. A little more open of a body pose there. And this one is, yeah, I think I like the axe in the right arm better. I feel bad for this guy though. He's getting my least favorite of all the options. But he's still cool though. He's just not as cool as the other ones. The other ones are cooler. Yeah, this is like an A tier sprue. Um, if I had to build a whole lot of these for like an army, I would not be very happy with the sprue because there's not a lot of options, right? Like you're going to have a lot of variation. You're going to be able to make them look different, but you're still using a lot of the same stuff, right? You still only have 3 heads, like, you know, you still have different arms on them all, right? This isn't like a completely monopose like GW model. But at the same time, I mean, you're only going to have 3 heads split across 3 models. So you're looking at what? A couple of variations in total over like, if you have 4 units of these, you'll have one of each potential variations, or is it 9? Yeah, if you have 3 units of these, you'll have one of each potential variation. And then that gets larger to have the variations in each group. But at 3 units, you're going to have identical models, which is kind of sucks. With just 1 or 2 more heads on this sprue, it would have that would have drastically increased that. Or even something like maybe the tails maybe had been a separate piece. That would have done it too. That would have helped too. The neck hole for these guys is so much bigger than the actual head. It's almost like the heads are like a little small. See the neck hole and then see the head hole? Oh, yeah, he's pretty cool too. Although he doesn't have all my favorite options like the other ones do. Yeah, I really love this guy. I'm not gonna lie, this guy's gonna get used a lot. This one's gonna be the one I go to all the time. He's really cool. And then I like Meat Sword or Meat Whip guy too. And I do like this guy too, but he's the he's the less cool options. All right, so let's see. What do we get left over? We got those arms. We get 3 other weapon arms. So we do have a lot of weapon variation, which is nice. I would have liked some arms here, or even some hands where I could have clipped the weapon hands off of these hands. Just like maybe 1 or 2. So I could have some where they only have 1 arm, 1 weapon. Right, because these guys are like hell forces. They're not really getting issued gear. I don't imagine. All right. I mean, maybe they are. I don't really know the Kings of War lore that well, but all right. Let's do one of the little guys. I've actually built the little guys on channel before, but we're gonna do one just for the sake of it today, and then we're gonna do Mr. Snake. All right. So these little guys, they're cool models. I do like them a lot. Let's see. Yeah, we'll do this one. So these guys also have a female version, which is like the succubus. Um, and they're fun models too. I like them a lot too. But I mainly want to build these really so you can show some size comparisons for them. All right, and then we're gonna let him sit on that base. So if I try to futz with the little model, I'm gonna just knock him everywhere. And while we let him sit for a minute, we'll start clipping out Mr. Snake. Snake. Well, I don't think any of the other Kings of War stuff has like a snake theme. I think this is kind of like the only really snaky unit. But, you know, I'm here for it. It's cool. Like, I don't know. Seems like kind of like a generically evil kind of, you know, evil snake monster, and I like that, you know. My sister loves snakes. She would be like, snakes aren't evil. And she's correct. But, you know, if you're going to talk about like kind of traditional archetypical iconography, snakes are pretty well connected with like, you know, like biblical evil. So, all right. Ooh, this guy's really freaking big. He is a lot bigger than I thought he would be. I'm gonna have to figure out a base to put him on. I'm gonna have to use like a Space Marine like motorcycle base size or something like that. I kind of thought this guy would be like more normal cavalry size. I'm kind of delightfully impressed that he is so big, right? Because I thought he would. When I looked at the pictures, and I guess I didn't look well enough, I thought he would fit on a base like this. But I mean, technically he does, but he's gonna need a bigger base than that. So I'll have to print him one out. And details cool. Got some chainmail and some armor kind of going down, protecting his snake Ussie. There we go. And then we are going to get a bunch of options for the head, which is really nice for this guy. And then we're going to get 3 different options for the weapons. It looks like they're all two-handers. This guy's the like unit heavy support, I guess, or like a heavy cavalry unit maybe. That's a really nice pose, how he's like bending back like that. They did a really good job sculpting that. Apologies, a lot of these are kind of like stream of consciousness, like me checking out my toys for the first time on Christmas morning kind of thing. So I apologize for that. Not really a lot of like, you know, predetermined thoughts. A lot of it is just, hey, this strikes me as cool, or this I don't like this kind of thing, right? But yeah, look at the chainmail and all. That's nice. There's a lot of depth there, so it'll pick up washes well. Yeah, it fits together good. I was like, one spot's not fitting together good. Why not? That's because there's a tiny little nub. Yep, new gap now. Yeah, that's really cool. I like that a lot. I do wonder if when you buy a box of these guys, if you just get 3 of this sprue, or if they do have other sprues. I don't know at all, so. The fact that this guy has a ball joint waist means we're going to be able to do some fun posing with him. All right, let's figure out which weapon do we want. Kind of like this halberd. I think that's the one he has on the box. It also just kind of looks like the biggest, to be honest. Because like this spear is neat, but it is also, I don't know, it doesn't look particularly like large. You know what I mean? And that was 13. I'm betting that goes with 12. Let's see. Was my guess right? Nope. Doesn't go with 12. Does it go with 11? Let's see. Nope, because 11 is the other side. Okay. What about 15? Do we think it goes with 15? It's gotta go with one of them. Feels like it might be right. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, so he's kind of like stabbing down with the halberd. That's kind of cool. I do like that. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to glue this in place and we'll let that sit and then we will figure the other arm out. And it sounds like my awesome husband just got home. So I'm going to finish this guy up and finish our little guy up, and then I'll probably call it. Okay, so I'm going to set that guy down. We're going to let that glow. We're going to figure out what kind of weapons we're going to put on the little guy. What are we thinking? What are we thinking? I like this. Oh, we have just kind of like a generic chopper. Let's do that actually. Actually, let's do the Katar. We'll do the Katar and a shield. I think that's a cool, weird combo. Hey, you. Oh, food. Okay. I'll be in a couple minutes. Okay. Thank you. Husband got me food. He got me a sub. It is either Italian sub or chicken sub or a turkey sub, maybe. Let's see. All right, so we'll do the Katar, we'll do a shield, and then we need a head. Oh, it's pretty cool ball joint waist. Are you making this with no instructions? So, it comes with this little instruction booklet, which is not super detailed, but there is also this, which says online instructions. But I'm going to be super honest. These things are going together so easy. I don't think you really need instructions. Right? Like it seems like all the arms are interchangeable in these guys. Maybe they have specific ones they're supposed to go with, but it doesn't look like it to me. Same thing with this guy, right? It looks like you can kind of pick any arm you want, really. All right, the heads all look interchangeable. So maybe there are instructions, or maybe there are specific ones, but If there are, I'm not feeling it. You know what I mean? They're just kind of, I don't know, they're just kind of going together like butter, to be honest. All right, we'll put this one on now. And then we'll take a look at the little demon heads and find one we like for our guy. Bonk. Yeah, because see, like this, we could rotate it up or down to get ourselves to like, um, but you don't seem to have any problems. Yeah, not at all. No, they're fantastic. Um, the Mantic stuff made by Archon is really killer. They did a wonderful job. I mean, a lot of the old Mantic stuff is cool too. Like these are cool models. They're just a lot of fun. They have a lot of variation and stuff, but the new Archon stuff is really baller. All right, so this feels like it wants to sit like this, but honestly, we can probably get a more like swingy pose with it, right? As well. So we'll take a look at that in a sec. I'm gonna let it sit, and we'll do our little guy. All right, so let's see. We have a bunch of little heads. It's a bunch of neat variation in these heads. Very like generic demony ones. There's kind of more impish ones. There's a more humanoid kind of one right there. This one's very cow. I like that one a lot. Let's use the cow head. Yeah, so a bunch of nice little variations, little demons for that. And then these guys, again, they're just flat on flat connections, so kind of pick whatever you want for them. And you are going to get two sprues of these guys. But there's a lot of options on there, so I wouldn't worry about it too much, to be honest. You'll have to build a lot of these guys before you get two models that are the same. Yep, but yeah, they're pretty fun. I like these little demons a lot. And they're cool. Let me show you some other demons. All right, we'll worry about that later. That was my entire goblin army falling over, by the way. Oh, guess it's a good thing I plan to spend the weekend cleaning this room up. Anyway, all right, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to grab some other guys for height comparisons for these. So, all right, so there's our little demon guy, right? Okay. This is a Frostgrave demon. So you can kind of see they're a lot more armored and they're a lot bigger, right? They're taller kind of models, which is fun. So you're going to have like some nice variation in there if you kind of put these guys in the same force, which is what I'm planning to do. this is one of the Wargames Atlantic Beastmen. So you can see that they're a lot bigger, right? So they're a lot bigger, they're a lot beefier. I'm gonna show this guy again just to make sure he was on camera. Right. So you wind up if so like what I'm planning on doing is kind of putting all these models together in like a force, and you wind up with this kind of really neat, varied kind of hell force. So these are the Wargames Atlantic. No, these are the Oathmark goblins, and I'm using them as my like imps, right? So these are kind of the bigger demons. These are going to be my imps, and the other armored ones are kind of the even bigger demons. So here's a Stargrave guy. Here's a U.S. Marine in the Pacific from Warlord Games. So if you wanted to have like Marines fight demons, you could do that. It'd be pretty sweet. Here's a Ghoul from Games Workshop. A like Hive Ganger from Games Workshop. And a Knight / Guard from Trader's Toll, which is a War Games Atlantic box. There he is. So they size up really nice with all this kind of stuff, which is pretty cool. Let's give our boy here his shield. There he goes. Nice little shield now for our buddy. And we can see that there's a whole ton of options on here, from two-handers to banners to music stuff. You got swords and maces and them throwing fireballs. Actually, this guy might be really cool since he has this like Katar thing to actually have a fireball in his arm. It's all good. It's all good. We'll keep this. We'll keep our guy with his Katar and his shield. All right, let's finish up Mr. Snake Man, and then I'm gonna go eat my sub. All right, so we need a head for Mr. Snake Man. Let's see. These are all very like, oh, what is the name of? He's a Christmas devil, Krampus. They're all very Krampus kind of heads. I like this one. This one's got a cool armored eyepiece and kind of like a sneer to it. That's pretty cool. I like that. And you got this guy with this big long tongue. You know, I think I'm gonna do the. I think this one has a face mask on too. I think I'm gonna do the one with the more armored eyepiece though. I think that's neat. So we'll wind up with 2 arms extra and 3 extra heads on that sprue. Now, if you wanted to put these bigger heads on these guys, I mean, they actually wouldn't look terrible, to be honest. Yeah, they actually wouldn't look terrible. So if you had a whole army of these, you could actually mix in some of the bigger snake heads, and I think they would look fine. I wouldn't go the opposite way. I wouldn't put these heads on the snakes because they'd be too small, but you could totally mix these heads onto these guys, and they'd look fine. Yeah, I think that's a good pose. We'll do that. Alrighty. So yeah, this wants to sit like this, but since it's a ball joint, you can get more creative with it. Yeah, and there's our Snake Man. He's cool. 10 out of 10 Snake Man. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. So Snake Man compared to Guard, so he's a big snake monster. Compared to Soldier, Games Workshop Ganger, Games Workshop Cool, Stargrave Dude, Frostgrave Demon, our own monster guy. So yeah, this guy's really big. He's a lot bigger than I thought he would be. And then if we look at our bigger, like Baylor style demons, right? You can see, like, if you wanted them to fight World War II stuff, that would actually be really cool, because so here's a Sherman. Come on. Her magnet was sticking a little, right? So here's a Sherman, right? Here's our demon. So like that's kind of a cool fight, right? And they're like you could actually see him trying to like smash the shit out of this, so that would be kind of sweet. Like these guys would be like the big kind of like weapons of war, right? If you had like tanks or something on your side. It's like if you had a couple of these dudes fighting a tank, that would be really, really cool. So yeah, you could they would work really well with kind of all those scales then. Because if you look at here's the dude, here's the Sherman, right? So that would be kind of cool to be honest. All right. Well, that was the Kings of War Bloody Cardinal box, pretty much. I can't build the resin guy because he needs to get washed first. But yeah, good stuff. Really good stuff. Very fun. Tomorrow I'm going to do doggos. So tomorrow we've got this one to open up and build, which should be pretty fun. This is the new Zerkali Werewolf Army guys. So we got some big werewolves, we got some little werewolves, we got some monks. These I actually specifically got to use with my World War II stuff because I thought they'd be really cool to add into my Empire of Japan like sci-fi army. So these I actually got specifically for that. But yeah, we'll check these out tomorrow. Same thing. We'll go through. We'll build a bunch of them. Stuff like that. Should be fun. But with that, I'm gonna go eat my dinner. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. And also I have to pick up my entire Goblin army off my floor. So good times. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a good one. And